Hey there, checking in episode 79 of Wise Advice. Just like we do all the time, we're going to start live on Facebook. So it'll give you a second to kind of pop in. Looks like you'll all pop in a second. Facebook will send out the notifications, obviously. I like that about Facebook. It reminds you that I'm here. If you set your app up to receive the notifications, you get a little alert saying that that we've gone live. Then you join in, and Jeff is always first. Let's see if he's here. Come on, Jeff. Jeff is almost always the first one in. We'll see if Jeff makes it first tonight, but probably not. My guess, Kirby's in tonight. Boom. Jeff is second. Oh, you were so close, Jeff. Kirby beat you by like a millisecond. So good to have you two guys here. You know, this is kind of fun. Claire, hello. It's kind of fun real quick when the first two people online are guys. Diane, hello. Sandra, hello. I remember one of my favorite meetings as a leader was the first 5 people in the meeting room were all men. It was the coolest feeling ever. It was just me, the receptionist, and 5 other guys in the room, and I was like, yeah, we're making a difference. So, of course, I know weight loss has no gender barrier, but anyway, but that's just was kind of cool. So, let's see. I saw a bunch of you pop in. So Claire is here. Diane's here. Hello. Sandra, hello. Good evening. Sheila, hello. Vicky, good evening. Yeah, Jeff, so close. Kristen's here. Wendy's here. Yvette is here. And Lisa's here. The same old crew. You guys rock. Catherine says you got your magnets today, hoping it helps to have the reminder. You know, that's the whole reason for them is you have to stay focused on what it is you're trying to do for every meal. I mean, it's one of those, you can't say, hey, I'm going to be focused, and then you know, my brain skips off into a different world and I forget about it. So every little piece I can to remind myself, that works. So yeah, the magnets certainly do help. So glad you got yours in the mail. Thanks for, that's kind of how we support the show. Someone asked me what I do with any profits from the magnets, and you know, I wish there were some. That would be kind of fun. But there aren't. Let's just be clear, and I'm completely cool with that. This isn't a plug by any stretch, but I'm glad that, you know, it does help cover the cost to some extent of the show without having to dig deep into the sponsorship bucket and, you know, have a commercial every 10 seconds. So, Catherine, very cool. Glad you got them as well. Donna, hello. Glad you caught me live. I'm glad you caught me live too. It's more fun live because we can chat back and forth and have a little more fun with it. Glenda, good evening. Linda says hi. Christy is here. Hello. Janet from Hershey, Nebraska. Not to be confused with Hershey, Pennsylvania. The one has corn, it looks like, and the other has chocolate. I mean, Janet, you got the raw end of the deal there, right? Hershey, Nebraska, not quite the same as Hershey, PA, but corn's only 3 points. And you get a lot more corn for 3 points than you do out of Hershey's Kisses for 3 points. So, very cool. Welcome from Hershey, Nebraska. Kim, hello. Claire from Oregon. Go Ducks, right? Is that the term we're going to use for Oregon? So go Ducks. And yeah, Lisa, this is the night crew. I mean, what time? I don't even know what time it is. 11:04. We should all be in bed, at least on the East Coast, right? Oregon, not so much. David, good evening. Good to see you there. Always glad to see David pop in. Cheryl, hello. So Kim said you set the when you're out of points wallpaper on your phone. Very cool. Kim, did you get that? Are you Android? Did you get that out of the Android app? Because I think that's the only place that I put it. Hopefully you did. I have it on. Oh, I can't show you because I'm on my phone. I was going to show you. It's the wallpaper on my phone as well. Very, very cool. Colleen, hello. Claire, so I was right. Go Ducks. Very cool. So we have Hershey, Nebraska, and Hershey, PA on the line for sure. Paula, hello. So Paula says, struggling with the blue dots right now, stuck on a plateau. Needs to switch to simply filling to get out this. No Hershey's Kisses this week to count. Paula, have you heard the episode that's all about complacency? Sorry, what is it? The blue dot episode, right? And then the complacency episode, and then probably the plateau episode. They're all kind of tied into there. There is a such thing as a plateau. I think many of us call a plateau our inability to follow the program properly. So we like to use the term plateau because that gives us the excuse to pretend like it's not our fault. So I don't know your scenario, don't know what's going on, but sometimes we have to reassess and say, is it really a plateau, or are we not working it with the same intensity? And that's why I like the blue dots. So your cob is 3 pounds away from goal. Woo! Man, that is going to feel amazing when you get there. Congratulations. Keep up the fantastic work. Paula says hi. Yeah, so Glenda, you're California time, so yeah, you're definitely well ahead of schedule there. So thanks for being here on California time. I know it's early in your evening. You still have a lot left to do, so appreciate you checking in here. So yeah, so Kim, that was my guess. So if you've got the wallpaper, if you're an Android user, there is in the app, there is a wallpaper that says when you're out of points, stop eating points, that I just kind of threw out there because the Android app gave me that ability to do that. So cool. Kim, glad you found it. Phil from North Carolina, hello. Kirby, topic tonight is a surprise. Meaning, I don't know. That's what surprise means. We have a couple 10% awards. It's kind of cool. Let's see what else. So that's 10%. Oh, my fingers are stuck together. I'm not sure what this one's about. That was a long one. So here's where we're at. So here's the. So I don't know if I always show you this. I don't know if it makes sense to show it to you or not. But so there is the email, right? And there is what I plan on saying. And then here's another email. And then you can see my notes all over it in blue. That's what I feel like I need to say when I come through here. This one here. Look at this. What's it say on the very top? Can you read that? I love email. So that's that one, and then those things there. So that's why, it takes me. Someone asked me today. I did my interview with Nokia. Nokia is going to put me on. They do a feature on their blog post. Can't wait to get that released. But I did the interview with them today, and it was really exciting. One of the questions they asked me was how much time goes into producing the show and all that good stuff. And I think I underestimated because I'm like, it doesn't take that long. And then I started sitting there going, it takes me a little bit of work. I mean, it takes an hour just to do the Facebook Live. And then I have to compile it, get it sent to the server, all that stuff. And then, but before all that, I have to prep. So it's probably 3 hours an episode. But man, it's so cool to do it. When I get emails like the ones I get tonight where people at 10% and just rocking the program, it just makes me want to do it. I mean, easier said than done. I would quit my full-time job and do this if it worked. But anyway, that's a little ramble. So Kirby, that's the answer to your what's the topic tonight question. Claire, complacency was it helped you refocus, and that's it. So, I mean, complacency is a big deal. It will be around forever. So the quicker you can learn to attack it, recognize it, and move on from it, the better off we're going to be. So Linda agrees with that. Two Lindas. Hi, Linda. I mean, I don't prep like a lot, Kirby. I just kind of print it and I read through it and I just highlight the notes. So Mary, good to see you. Hello, thank you. Andrea says hi. Yvette says can't get the wallpaper to work. I don't know why that is because I know a couple people who've done it, so it works. If you email me, Mike@FatDag.com, I will send you the wallpaper file. So email Mike@FatDag.com, say put wallpaper in the subject, otherwise I'll miss it, and I will reply with the. I may just put it on the website too. But anyway, go ahead and email me, and I'll send you the wallpaper file. And it's just a simple JPEG file. Katie is home from the beach. Welcome home from the beach. Andrea says these episodes start right when you get into bed. You can't seem to bring up the new audio podcast in the app and you're having withdrawals. Reset your app. If not, go into the app and do the troubleshooting thing that I'll send it to my development team, and they'll look at it. And by development team, I say the people who develop the app for me. They're not necessarily my team, but they're the people who develop the app, so they handle all the technical aspects of it. So cool. All right, there we go. Let's get this one in the books. Let's get 79 rolling. Let's start with some milk water. Man, I like water. Water is the best part of the day. Wouldn't you agree or no? Anything special you need me to say in the episode before we go? Mic check 1 2. Dun, 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 dun. Testing 1 2. Testing. Boom. Yeah. Testing 1 2. Testing. 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 Audio check lip. All right. And test 1 2. Test 1 2 3. All right. Audio looks good. You ready over there? Deep breath. I don't know if you noticed this when I'm on the when I'm on here. I get to the point where I run out of breath because I just talk. So I have to start with a really deep breath, and then I can roll into it. So let's see what I missed. Denise says just got in for a run. Missed it this morning, but good at tennis goals. Good job. Water is coffee. Yeah, water rusted his pipes. Yeah, no, that's not how it works. Water is coffee flavored. Got it. All right. We're rolling. I am your host, FatDag, and you're listening to Wise Advice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at fatdag.com and follow along on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at Wise Advice. Send in your comments, your questions, your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. Well, that's right. Welcome to episode 79 of Wise Advice. And man, it's always an honor to be hanging out with you folks on Facebook. And for those of you who are listening to the podcast, you can kind of join me on Facebook. You can join it after the fact over on YouTube. But the Facebook crowd is great. Here we are, Eastern time. They're tuned in. They're rocking and rolling. They're all working the plan and killing it because they're staying focused on their goals and staying mindful to the process. So shout out to all of them on Facebook who are in here every night, tuned in, ready to go, and they kind of get me pumped up before the show. It's an aspect to the show that, certainly it adds a time component to it for me, but more importantly, is I believe that interaction piece is what we're kind of missing in a lot of this stuff. And so honored to be here with those folks who are hanging out on Facebook. If you're one of them, great, hang out for the show. At the end of the show, we'll come back and we'll wrap up live on Facebook as well. But certainly the podcast reaches a lot more people and it gives us the ability to listen on your terms, not necessarily 11 o'clock at night in the evening time. So we're going to open up with Lexi. Lexi writes in and says, "Hi, Mike. I know that you're a Weight Watcher leader. If you run out of topics, it would be nice to discuss what the weekly topic is. If it's against the Weight Watcher rules, maybe something from a past week. I know as an online-only person, I'd appreciate it. And since you're my wingman, I did make 10%, 2 weeks later than I thought, but I kept the lifestyle going and I got rewarded." Lexi, outstanding job. 10% is one of the first goals that really proves that you have the ability to do this long term. It means you're focused. It means you're disciplined. It means you've made it through a handful of weekends. It means you weren't perfect on the plan at some point. At some point you faltered and you picked yourself back up and you kept going and you persevered to get down 10%. If you reach 10% weight loss in your journey, you've heard me say this before, if you reach 10%, you absolutely have the ability to get to goal. If you noticed, when you got to 10%, we didn't say, okay, now that you've got here, let's start a new program. Let's try these tools. Let's try that. We didn't do any of that. When you reach 10%, we said, okay, great. Do that again. Keep doing that for the rest of your life, and then you will hit goal. So great job on that. You absolutely have the ability to make goal, and I want to see you do it. Now, as far as the topics go, it's kind of interesting. I certainly don't want to compete with the Weight Watcher meeting room. I believe, as you followed along as well, I believe the meeting rooms are somewhat sacred. I believe what happens in the meeting room is special, and I'm one of those folks. I need the meeting room for my own personal accountability. That combined with the fact that we do the show somewhat daily, so I would run out of topics real quick. But my intent is not to replace your meeting or replace what you're doing. It's to add to all that. So I don't want to, I'd hate to pretend to replace your meeting atmosphere. I know you're online only. I think we rely heavily on the emails that come in. You tell me what you want to talk about. I'll work it into the show. And that way, this becomes an independent show and doesn't necessarily be tied to whatever the Weight Watchers folks do. And I also think, I have to dig into it, I guess. I also think that to some extent that the information that they share is theirs, and to use their terms specifically, I don't even want to get into that mess. So don't know, but I think, it all relates, and I think we hit just about every topic that's out there. Anyways, the most important topic being, why did you join? And stick with it. So thanks for that. Aubrey writes in, she says, hi Mike, I need to check in and have someone hold me accountable, and I know you're just the guy to do it. I have just listened to episode 76, and I have to say that I fall into the perfection trap that was described by the listener that emailed in. I felt that as she was describing me in her email. I believe I put the perfection expectation on myself. I am a Virgo and their firstborn child. Perfectionism has always been a part of my life. The expectations I put on myself are often unrealistic. When I fail, I beat myself up and I fall completely off the wagon. It's counterproductive, I know. I haven't been to a meeting in almost a month. I've been busy, but deep down, I know that is an excuse. I could have found another meeting to go to, but I didn't because I know I was going to see a gain on the scale. I went out of town last weekend with the best of intentions of staying on track, and when I slipped up, I threw in the towel, and I went on a binge eating spree the entire weekend over the 4th. I feel like I have been double whammying myself between the perfection trap and the complacency trap. If it isn't one, it's the other, and on some really tough days, it's both. I've been playing with the same 5 pounds for over 4 months, and I know it's because of these two things. After listening to that episode, I have decided that I am going to take the bull by the horns. I have written down my why. I have made an attendance goal to go to a meeting at least once a week, good, bad, or ugly, and I'm going to track like a newbie, because that is what got me to almost 60 pounds lost, and that's what's going to get me to goal. Even if it's ugly, I'm going to go to my meeting on Saturday, and most importantly, when I'm out of points, I'm going to stop eating points. Thank you for all that you do. I had to play catch up on your podcast, and that one hit me right where I needed it. Aubrey. Well, Aubrey, you got a lot going on in your email, and I got to tell you, I love every piece of it. You've explained a lot. So let's start with the obvious. You're 60 pounds down. So that is exactly when the complacency trap certainly wants to set in, because at 60 pounds down, that's phenomenal work. You have to feel better. You have to look significantly better. At a 60-pound weight loss, people who see you regularly now have begun to notice. Whether they say it or not, they certainly have noticed. So you're doing absolutely fantastic work at that point. Now, being the firstborn and an only child, certainly not, or sorry, firstborn doesn't resonate with me per se, but I understand that mindset of why you want to feel like you're perfect, and why the perfectionist trap gets in the way. A lot of the firstborn, as a parent, The firstborn is where everything has to be perfect. You look at any baby album of the firstborn and there's a picture of them doing everything. Look at the baby album of a secondborn child and there's a picture of them doing most everything. And you look at a picture of the thirdborn child, there's no pictures at all, right? So I understand why, as the firstborn, you want to fall into that perfection trap. And you're absolutely right. It's an unrealistic expectation. You absolutely can't be perfect. You certainly cannot be perfect on this weight loss journey. So you have adopted an all or nothing mindset. And so we have to break through that. When you get to the point where if you can't follow it perfectly, you don't follow it at all. And you just heard from the previous caller or the previous email that said, they've reached 10%. And same with you, to get 60 pounds down, at some point along the journey, you had to stumble. I don't think you can hit 60 pounds down with a perfect, absolutely perfect attendance through the entire thing, perfect tracking, perfect meal planning. It's going to be very difficult if it's possible at all. So you had success with 60-pound weight loss with some struggles in between. That right there teaches you that if you never give up, then you can sustain this for long term. Now, let's talk about your meeting attendance or lack of attendance. You said you haven't been to a meeting in almost a month. I understand that. Now, that's obviously, just like you said, that's an excuse. I love the excuse when I hear people, I'm busy. I'm too busy. Well, think about it this way. And the next time you think you're too busy to do something, if I handed you right now a winning lottery ticket and say, I'm too busy to go cash this, could you cash it for me? I'm pretty sure you'd figure out a way to clear your calendar and you'd get it done. Now, if you couldn't clean your calendar for the next day, I'm pretty sure somewhere in the next 7 days you could squeeze that into your calendar. So that's the benchmark I use to determine, am I really busy? If I got a winning scratch ticket, a winning lottery ticket for a handful of thousands of dollars, would I have time to go cash it in? Yeah, you bet you I would. So that's the benchmark, because you recognize that it's been an excuse. And especially what I notice is a lot of people is when you want to skip the meeting, it's absolutely when you need to go the most. And in your case, if you think you're going to see a gain on the scale, what we try and do, we try and play a game with the scale, and we try and say, I'll skip this meeting, and then what I'll do is I'll track really well for a week, and then I will go to the next week's meeting, and then I'll have a bigger loss than normal. No one will ever know that there potentially was a gain in there. Now, what happens almost always is when you skip that meeting, you lose a little more of your focus, and then the second week does not work either. The third week is even worse, and there we are a month into it, and we've skipped our meeting. So, you absolutely are on the right track. You're setting your attendance goal. You know that when you're going in this Saturday to weigh in, whether it be good, bad, or ugly, it's absolutely not ugly. The fact that you're showing up, that you're intentional, and that you're trying to follow the plan to the best of your ability is not ugly at all. That's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to see that you want to take care of yourself, because one of the things I say is you weigh the same whether you hop on the scale or not. The scale is just a number in relation to where you are that day. Whether you get on the scale or not, the number is the same. Now, if you know the number, you can determine if you like the number, if you don't like the number, and then if you don't like the number, you can devise a plan to have the number change. You can only do that if you go and get yourself a number. Now, to those of us who are perfectionists and want to try and be perfectionists, the one thing you may have some success with is perfect attendance. Don't skip a weigh-in for an entire year. That could be a goal that you can measure yourself against. That's one that you absolutely have the ability to maintain. You have the ability to win it, so go get it done. Can't wait to hear when you reach your goal and bust out of this trap that you're in, because you have the ability to get it done. That's how you lost 60 pounds, is by doing that. So thanks for your email. Stacee writes in and she says, "Hi FatDag, I'm sure you get tons of email and can't answer them all, but I have a question you may be able to answer on the podcast. I notice people posting 100 days of whys on Connect, and I can barely think of one. What is your opinion of coming up with 100? You are so logical and explain how to work the plan in such an understandable way. I did get a lot out of setting performance goals instead of time goals, So thank you for that. Thanks, Stacey. Well, Stacey, yeah, I do get a ton of email, but I absolutely love a ton of email because that's how this entire show operates. Is without email, I got nothing to talk about, nothing to share. So continue to send them in. Don't be afraid of that. I will work them in as the time approaches. Now, let's talk about the 100 Days of Why. As we know on this plan, every single person has to find what motivates them, what keeps them engaged into the process, what keeps them wanting to work it. If you want to write out 100 days in a row of why you want to lose weight, why you want to follow the plan, why you want to get blue dots, you absolutely can do that, and you should do that, and that should be your message to do it. I personally cannot do that for a couple different reasons. Number one is I think I really only have one why, and I think the other 99, if I were to find them, would certainly all point back to the number one for me. So really, I have one why. I've shared it more than once. That's essentially what it is. Everything else kind of points to that. The other reason that I am not participating in that certain is if I could come up with 100 different whys in the first place, I'm not going to remember them all. If you asked me what was day 73, I wouldn't know. If you said what was day 26, I wouldn't know. I would have a hard time coming up with them in the first place. I would not be able to remember them. And if I can't remember them, I can't stay focused on them. My intent is to figure out what my number one why is. What is the number one reason I do not ever want to fail a PT test ever again? What is the number one reason for me I want to be healthy and be able to be physically fit for the rest of my life? That I can remember. And that when I come up to a food choice that isn't the best and I have to make some decisions, I can say, would I rather have this and never fail a PT test again, or would I rather not have that? And so I get to make that choice based against my one why. If I had 100 whys floating around in my brain, it may be easy to kind of get distracted and stick away. So to those who do it, it's fun to read some of them. I think you'll see a common thread in a lot of them that all kind of point to a similar scenario. That's where I would dig deeper and find the root of your why and work on that. So, Stacey, great email. Thank you for writing in for sure. Victoria writes in, says, "Hi, Dag. What an amazing week this has been. It is finally about more than the number for me. Before I weighed in this week, I was noticing a difference in myself, both physically and mentally. In the past, I'd always beaten myself up about the way I looked, whether I was up or down on the scale. I never thought I was seeing the results. These past few days, I've caught myself looking at my reflection as I'm walking through the mall or in the school, smiling. I'm nowhere near ready to end my journey, but to top all of this off, I weighed in this morning to find that I am down 2 pounds for a total of 17.4 pounds, and I have reached 10%. I am genuinely happy, confident, and even more determined to never be complacent again. Thank you for this podcast. Starting weight 166.6, current weight 148.8, goal weight 135. Good focus, Victoria." Victoria, yes. Congratulations on 10%. If you reach 10%, you just heard me say, if you reach 10%, you absolutely can reach goal. If you can notice the difference between how you felt before and how you feel now, both physically and mentally, you can reach goal. If you know that feeling good is an amazing accomplishment that you are in charge of, that you have the ability to change your entire life so that you can start feeling good, you have the ability to reach goal. Now, feeling good on this journey is where the complacency piece pipes in, but what I can tell you is feeling good and getting to goal feeling good are completely different. Getting to goal feeling good is about 2 to 3 times more powerful than the feel good you have now. So you think you feel good now? Wait till you get to 135, and when you get to 135 and you hop on that scale and you never ever want to lose another pound again, you're going to be there. Now, how cool is it to walk into a random mirror and to love what it looks like? Random mirrors rock, and so for a long time, I loved my home mirror. My home mirror was nice to me always, but I hated mirrors that were out and about that caught me by surprise. You could walk into a department store and I would catch a reflection of me, and boy, would it angered me. Now, just like you said, I see them and I look, I'm like, I like this. And so when you now can confront a random mirror that you didn't know was there, and you can do it smiling, you're going to reach goal. So Victoria, keep up the great work. Welcome to goal. Now just get the scale to catch up, and you're on your way. Sandy writes in and says, Mike, my response to losing 45 pounds feels so darn good. I have always been a quitter. I'm one of those who have joined numerous times but never followed through. This time, I realized that I might be depressed. I got help. I get rid of most of my baggage that I've been carrying since I was a child. Suddenly, Weight Watchers clicked. I've lost 45 pounds over a year and a half. It took a while as I'm 71. Metabolisms do slow down, but I decided to eat in a sustainable way so I can maintain the loss. I walk at least 8,000 steps every day, but always shoot for more. I do water aerobics, but since I have titanium knees, a right shoulder replacement, and I broke my left wrist last year, it's difficult to get up off the floor. But life goes on. I am truly blessed with Deb, my leader, my meeting family, as well as my Connect friends. I listen to your podcast when I walk, and now I hear you telling me, when you're out of points, stop eating points. It's quite often. So thank you for your service and for your service to us. I truly appreciate it, Sandy. Well, Sandy, I am honored to be your wingman. Thank you so much for taking me on a walk. Some days that may be the only steps I get is to walk along with you. And 8,000 steps a day, that's killer. I think I average probably 5 to 6, depending on the days that I run or don't run. But you're absolutely killing it. You are doing fantastic work. Folks, if you heard this, right? Here's Sandy is 71 years old. Let me go through here and read it. So we have a titanium knee, a right shoulder replacement, a broken left wrist, and you're still getting it done at 45 pounds. So don't tell me you can't do this. You can tell me that you're not ready to do it. You can tell me that maybe you don't know how to do it. But don't tell me you can't do it. Because as soon as you say you can't, someone like Sandy comes along and proves you that it absolutely can be done. So you can still be a quitter, Sandy. You said you've always been a quitter your entire life. That's part of who you are, sure. If you'd like to, you can always still be a quitter. Quit feeling lousy. Quit trying to lose weight. Quit being mediocre in life and be awesome just like you are. So if you want to be a quitter, there's opportunities for you to find things that you can quit and still be a huge success like you are. So thank you for that. Let me see when I would go here. We have to, sorry, I got distracted here, but we get some help. You get rid of your baggage because of your depression. So that's a good deal that you recognize that. You recognize how that impacted your journey. Once we get to the point in life where we figure out who we are and we accept who we are, that's when we have the ability to make the most change. So I'm glad to see you put that into your process and put that into your email, because the time that you took to identify that is what's carrying you forward. So keep up the great work. And it's the same thing on my journey. Is when I got to the point where I started recognizing that I could start taking selfies because this is just who I am. I accepted it. And I said, I'm going to love me however I am, and then I'm going to make the change to be who I really want to be. That's when it clicked for me. So it sounds like it did for you as well. So Sandy, great job. Thank you for your email. Keep up the fantastic work. Out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, Jen writes in, says, I have just started listening to your podcast and you are already making a difference in my journey. I ate all of my dailies and some of my weeklies for breakfast on a Saturday morning. By using your phrase, when you're out of points, stop eating points, about a dozen times an hour, I made it through the day using only 3 more weeklies, and I wasn't hungry and I didn't feel deprived. I say it to myself with the same intensity, reason, and emphasis as you say it in the podcast. Well done, Mike. Jan. Well, Jan, absolutely. So here, this one is for you. Jan, when you're out of points, stop eating points. So you're doing amazing work. Thank you for tuning into the podcast. I understand the days when you wake up on a Saturday morning, you eat all of your dailies, and then you dig into your weeklies, and it's only one meal. Been there, done that. It happens. Just like you, I'm able to stay focused on the plan. The fact that you made it through the rest of the day using only 3 more weeklies demonstrates your level of commitment to this process. Now, I'm pretty convinced that the amount of food you ate at that point for the first meal of the day will carry you through the entire day for 24 hours, at least from a standpoint of, does your body physically need the food? You have enough food in your body to make it 24 hours, so you certainly could wake up the next morning reset. Not necessarily a way that I would recommend working the plan by any stretch, but the mindset that we figure out is, I've had enough food. From this point on, let me balance the mindset and get me through the evening. By using only 3 more weeklies, you did a great job. Remember, you could always fall back on the 0-point foods, bananas, fruits, apples, and a salad, and you can do very well with the rest of the day, even when you get it done. So, way to balance it, way to get it done, way to stay focused, and way to write in with your celebration. And that's what we always want to know, is that what is it that you're celebrating? Let's hear it. Let's share it on the air. The show revolves completely around your interaction, and you're letting me know what you're celebrating, where you're struggling, what you want to comment on, and your questions. I'll work them in as part of the show. Go to FatDag.com, click on Listen Now. You can also email in at onair@FatDag.com, but that is going to do it for this time. Remember, losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused, set your sights on your goal, and go after it. I wish you good focus. "25 minutes. Okay, got less than last night, so woohoo! Very cool. So Jana, looks like I missed something. Jana did something really good. So let me scroll back, just like we know. We're going to scroll back through Facebook. Mary, hello. All right, I'm going to scroll all the way back up top. So hang on until I come back to this conversation that's going on right now. You like that sound effect? Yeah, Kirby. I found Kirby's comment. I'll come back to that one, Kirby. That's funny. All right, I think we're right here. So Margaret says hi. Wendy says hi to Margaret. Jana says hello. So Andrea says she reinstalled the app and have the current podcast back. Phew. Yeah, not sure what that's about, but I'm glad it works. Very, very cool. Hello from California, Sarah. Good to see you out in California land. So Kirby says that I say, FatDag says, going to Weight Watchers and stepping on the scale is like winning the lottery. Man, it is. Wow, that's kind of deep, right? If I had, knowing what I know now, I would much rather be at goal than win a small amount of money in the lottery. If it was like a lot, then we have to have the conversation. But right now, any amount that I've ever won in the lottery, I think the most I've ever won is like $50. So, so I would, at this point, I would take away all my lottery winnings to stay at goal. So yes, stepping on the scale is like winning the lottery. Terry from Florida. Hello, Florida. Very cool. Kirby writes down each of your 100 days into a notepad. Then at your meeting, when the leader asks what happened in the week, you look back to see if there's something wrong. Something worth mentioning. So, yep. Again, perfect. What's the word? Perfect example of why you don't just do what I say just because I say to do it. So you got to find what works for you and get it done. So, yeah. So Denise says you won twice when you found the podcast. Yeah, it's funny. The podcast is like winning the lottery too. No, maybe the lottery is kind of cool. So Donna says meetings are important. I've been to lots of different times and leaders, so lucky to live someplace where it has so many options and a schedule to choose. So yeah, Donna, that is the meeting center I work out of has 13 meetings a week. So man, it jokingly, but don't tell me you can't make it. Don't tell me you can't fit it into your calendar. There's 13 meetings a week. What's that, 2 a day, right? Except for one day it has 1, I guess. So yeah, it's possible to get to them if that becomes a priority in your life. So, yeah. So Margaret says, not only are you liking random mirrors, but your shadow's not half bad. Did you see the picture, Margaret, I posted on Connect? It would have been around the 23rd of June, so 2 weeks ago. 3 of us went out walking, and so we posted our shadow. I forget the number, but one of us was down 100 pounds, one 91 pounds, and I think the other guy was like 80 or some pounds. Jay, right? 86 pounds, Jay. So what is that? 190, 270. So 3 of us in one picture down 270 pounds, and we posted our shadows. They look really cool. So if you haven't seen that on Connect, scroll through until you see the shadow. Very, very cool. Yep, so Sandy is a warrior for sure. Donna says, went to a meeting last room and the room was packed. Right, exactly. People talked all over the leader and she let it go on until it got, that's not good, until it got into a fever pitch, so distracting. So yeah, no, it definitely cost you money to be there. So there is as a leader, there is a fine line between allowing the members to run the meeting and trying to facilitate a good discussion. And so sometimes you kind of got to let things go, and sometimes you got to reel them in. And some of you like to talk like me, so it's hard to interrupt somebody because you don't want them to feel like you're cutting them off. So, but it definitely is a delicate balance. So I understand that for sure. Yep, Sandy rocks. Whoop whoop. And so Terry's the thing. Major problem at your meeting. Got it. Okay, let's see. Jaina says, today was your 18th week this time around, whoop whoop, and I have not missed a single meeting. Had a change in my work schedule, so I had to miss your morning weigh-in, so you made sure I made tonight's meeting. So that's it. You find another alternative to go, because you just make it a priority to go get it done. So, yeah, so Catherine, I agree with you. You've got to find a meeting that works for you. I guarantee you there are people in that meeting room, if it's packed, they're there because they love that format. So that format doesn't work for everybody, so you find the format that works for you, and you go get it done for sure. So Mary says, thanks, you're welcome. Denise says, attendance goals and respecting yourself, and you're holding yourself accountable. That's what matters for sure. Let's see. So Christine says, good one. You have 2 to listen to when you walk tomorrow. Good job. Cool. Glad to see that. Andrea says, hit over 25 pounds, 10%, 4 months last week, which is awesome. Yeah, and so you're right. You'd rather be at goal than win the lottery. You know, it's one of those things that it's hard to think of it that way, but that's the reality is, man, if you live at goal, you can live here for the rest of your life, and it just opens up an entire world. So 25 pounds is significant work. You don't do that on accident. You don't just magically wake up down 25 pounds. If you've hit your 10% loss, then you have the ability to get to goal. So Andrea, keep up the great work. David took off. Good to see you. Yeah, so Christine, a fat multimillionaire, that's a tough choice. So the people who win the lottery, you know, what's the statistics on them? Very few of them keep their money for life, right? So I'd rather live at goal for the rest of my life than and manage. So Monica from California, whoop whoop. Yep, so go check out the shadows. So Christine, yeah, you're located at 2 different meetings, so yeah, very cool. So you pick one. Yvette, magnets, if you want one, if you go to FatDag.com, click on Listen Now. On that site there are 3 ways to support the show. One of them is through a Patreon link. One of them is through a just flat out donation, and the third is the magnet. So you'll see the magnet picture there. So go ahead and click on that, and they're there. So very, very cool. Let's see. And then looks like we made it. Andrea's done some great work, everyone says. And then Jaina says truth. So cool. So that's the bottom. What else do we want to hit before we wrap this up? I'll send that. You can see the audio right there. That's what the show looks like in digital format. There it is. So that's what the audio looks like. So get you a little dizzy there. But anyway, so that's it. So as always, more than you know, I appreciate you being here, because part of this journey for me is me being here. It does keep me accountable to the plan as well. I think at this point I feel very much in control of my journey. I feel very much in control of everything that I choose. Linda's asking what are my go-to snacks. Generally speaking, go-to snack for me is a gas station banana. If I need something crazy, then I know my gas stations in my area. I know which ones have the freshest bananas. And so if I'm in that mode, I did it today as a matter of fact, on the way home from lunch. I needed just a little bit more, and I stopped at the gas station and got a banana. So bananas, apples, strawberries are my number one, and then a Quest bar. If I need a kick of protein, I will grab a Quest bar and do that. So those are my kind of go-to snacks. But so there we are. Yeah, so Donna, oh, that's cool, Donna. So Donna said you saw a friend wearing a Folds of Honor hat. Thanked him for supporting the organization. That is so cool. So that's the up there. Let me see my pen right there above my pen. So that is the Folds of Honor. So yeah, it's an organization I feel very deeply committed to. Founded by a real good buddy of mine. So I run the Indiana chapter up here. We do amazing work, and so this is just for Gee Whiz stuff. We pushed out $13 million in scholarship money in 2017. So it's amazing. When you I don't know if you saw the Adam Driver commercial that's on Facebook going around right now, but we delivered a scholarship through Adam Driver to a family, and 13 million bucks is a lot. But what's humbling is when you can push out $13 million in support of a family or families who need it, and then the shocking realization comes in that wasn't enough, and that there are other families that we had to turn away because we didn't have enough money to fund all of the requests that came in. So that's another thing. It's a whole different part of my life, but that's another thing that drives me very significantly to give back. I work my tail off to make sure that we raise enough money so that we never have to leave a single family behind on the field of battle. So Donna, thank you for thanking him for the support as well. That's very cool. I was surprised that came up, but that's cool. So Denise and Sandra, thank you, Yvette. You're welcome. Yep, Love Quest. Yep. So Denise, thank you for your bike shop out of Tucson. So Tucson is the Quick family. The Quick family runs the Tucson organization. So very, very cool. So tell them I say hi if you see them. But anyway, continue to be honored and humbled and blessed to be here working and hanging out with you as we work this together. I'm a firm believer that we have to stay focused. You know that. We have to stay disciplined. We have to be reminded constantly of what it is that we're doing. And this podcast helps for you. It also helps for me. When I get your emails, often I'll read them and go, oh yeah, I can relate to that because I did that, or I have done that, or I was tempted by that. So the fact that we work together, it benefits me as well. So thank you always for being here. Episode 79 is complete. We'll get that sent out to the server. You should have it in about a half an hour or so, whatever it takes me to get the audio processed. But I really, really, really appreciate your support. Thank you for being here. More than anything, this takes focus, discipline, dedication, determination. I wish you good focus. Good night.